to take imperfect action. And you got to be ready before you feel ready, or else you'll never get anything accomplished.
Amazing. All right.
I'd be like, are we recording?
It's recording, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakhiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is the intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. Our guest today is Bridget Hom. She is an author, a motivational speaker, a business life coach, a leadership development coach, and a sales trainer. And today we're going to deliver tons of value. And let's just jump right in. Bridget, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, JP. I'm so excited. I'm fired up to deliver some value to your people so they can start making moves for business growth, for having a romance with life. It's going to be a good time today.
Amazing. Yeah. I always like to start with someone's journey. Like, how did you end up in this space?
You know, I just talked about this to the whole group of people live. And after they're like, wow, you're such a great motivational speaker. How did you get started? And I just said, well, desperation, actually. I literally was on my way to getting Zoom divorced and moved out of my big, beautiful home. And then virtual school happened for my 3 young boys, which most of us know how that looked to have kids at home, right? I don't know. Did you have kids at home during COVID or no? They did?
I could not tell my daughter, she was like in kindergarten and she's like, Daddy, how many Zoom meetings do I have today? And then she just started closing the laptop and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going there. Go ahead.
Oh, total nightmare, right? That I think people just drained their serenity and sanity accounts during that time, myself included. And so actually I was in the seniors industry originally, and that job disappeared because you couldn't go near a senior citizen for their safety. And so Bridge to Freedom coaching was just a side hustle at the time. I had 3 clients. And actually what happened next was I got a random Zoom link, and you knew what a Zoom was, right? In 2020?
Yeah, I had Zoom before Zoom was a thing.
Yeah, so you were way ahead of me. I had no clue what this thing was. I'm like, where do I show up for this meeting? Obviously, I figured it out. I showed up on a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. and this guy, Brian, goes, Bridget Hom, give your 30 seconds. And I'm thinking, dang it, he mispronounced my last name. What am I supposed to say? And literally what came out, it had to be divine inspiration, because what came out was Bridget Hom or Bridge to Freedom Coaching. Are you ready to level up? And I had 6 clients within 6 weeks. And my programs were born, group sales trainings, group coaching, blah, 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 yada, yada, best-selling book stuck on ready. And I've had the opportunity to influence and inspire and empower thousands since then, between the hours, might I add, of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., which is important.
That's huge. It's such a good feeling, right? Like you do this and then you get to give it back, and then you get to see other people doing it, and it's just a ripple effect.
Right? That's why I said, I became an empowerment generator. Like I was just constantly empowering people, and then they were giving back that energy to me. And that's what happens. It's a beautiful thing in the coaching world. And actually, I think that it can extend to every business owner's world, every leader's world, to become that empowerment generator and create that culture of connectivity around you.
Beautiful. And so Bridge to Freedom Coaching, what an apt name for a company. And can you maybe talk about that a bit? Include your book if you want to, which is also another amazing name, Stuck on Ready.
Yeah, it takes too long to get ready in this world. And we're building the plane while we're flying as entrepreneurs and coaches.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I'd love to. How I came up with Bridge to Freedom Coaching was actually my business partner in my placement agency. And he was so funny. He goes, Bridget O. Freedom Coaching. We'll just put your name in there. And I'm like, yep, that's brilliant, Walter. And I actually met him salsa dancing. I did a lot of salsa dancing back in the day. And so listen, you take the business out of your relationships and your relationships bring you business. And so, networking is so important. And so Bridge to Freedom Coaching evolved greatly since 2020 and 2021. And the more I met with people, because people give you the energy, they also tell you what they need. If you're ever confused in your industry or target market, go do some networking, ask people some questions, and you'll no longer be confused about how to help others, right? or what product, message, or service to create, right?
Yeah.
And so it originated from this belief that you deserve to have a romance with life, a partnership with your future successful self. And that comes from knowing how to create those empowered client interactions forever. And so that became the foundation of the Find Your Freedom program, of my Stuck on Ready programs. And the book is just a compilation of all the experiences and all the strategies that I've created since then so that I could share them with, well, the world at large.
Beautiful. Can you share some of those strategies with us right now?
Absolutely. So the first chapter, I talk about becoming the successful entrepreneur. And everything starts with mindset. Mindset's the number one problem and the number one solution. And so the number one way to get into the right mindset for business growth as an entrepreneur, coach, consultant, or leader is to be problem aware and solution seeking. You see, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you got to be aware of the problem first, or you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, you're going to be screwed, essentially.
You're going to be stuck on ready.
You're going to be stuck. You're not going to be even ready. You're just going to be plain stuck. How many people have we talked to? It's like you're going to be stuck in the problem and you're never going to get to the solution, which I say there's so many of us who are in a place where we're living under the influence of circumstances, environments, situations, just plain stuck in what do I do next? What's my next direction? What's my next decision? So that's why I covered that in the first chapter. And then, of course, I address sales because, we're all in sales.
I think you're born for sales.
You're funny. Actually, my parents used to have a family meeting on Sundays. I'm totally going to tell you the story about my personal life. So my dad was sales and marketing, and my mom was public relations and radio. And she grew up in New York City, got rid of her accent through public speaking. And then my dad was always just giving people the authority and power to do something big. So we used to have these family meetings on Sunday nights, and we would have someone record the minutes. We'd be like, "How was your week, Bridget?" Or "How's your week, Ben?" And I have 3 younger siblings. And so that was what we did. We talked about what was going on in our world, and we were intentional about it. I don't know if you had that same experience. Did you?
Nope.
I always say I had an abnormal childhood. But it really fueled me to understand that life is about serving others, and you really find your purpose in serving. And that's why I came up with a new definition for sales, which is serving others with solutions.
Beautiful.
And then branding is programming your prospects to want you. Marketing is just SEO for your client's mind. Closing is giving people the opportunity to have more and better. And then we have some new empowered definitions so that we can see business, because business and people are synonymous. And so once we start to blur the lines of business and people and really see that, well, we don't have to be trapped in the business in the box mentality of the hi, how are you game? Who's going to pitch first? Then you start to enjoy the conversations, and sales becomes about alignment. Hey, I can help you solve this problem faster. Is this something you want?
100%. It's about connecting, right? Like the sale will come later. You don't have to worry too much about it. And then the opposite side of that, if someone's just trying to force the sale on you, it feels like I don't want to get away from me, right? But you have that connection, and then, okay, it's like a courtship, almost like when you first date a partner.
Exactly. I actually met my husband in Zoom business networking. I can't even make that up. He did a great 30-second pitch, actually. I'll tell you, he did a pitch on anyone divorced here. And I happened to raise my hand. And if you meet anyone, any of my people listening, that's not me to be that forward. But he noticed. He goes, "I do divorce mortgage guidance. And if you have a divorce attorney, I'd love to chat with them." And so he noticed, and it became a drip campaign. It's like, "Ms. Hom, I would love to write you a review on LinkedIn. I've seen your coaching. It's exceptional." Then 2 weeks later, "Ms. Hom, I would love to send you a book on personal and business development. I think you'll love it. What's your address?" And so then it became, we're long overdue for a one-to-one. And the rest is kind of history. So
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we got married. It became a modern day Brady Bunch situation. We had 3 dogs and 3 boys. I came with 3 boys and a dog, and he came with 2 dogs.
Congratulations. We had Right now, I have 2 golden retrievers, but right now we have 10 puppies downstairs.
Oh my gosh, that's my husband's dream. Puppies everywhere. Jack Russell specifically.
I was gonna say we deliver to Florida, but we don't have Jack Russells.
Yeah, it's okay. It's totally fine. I definitely want to hold off on that for a little bit. We'd like to travel this summer.
Yeah. Tell me about imperfect action.
Well, is there really such a thing as perfect action? Perfect action is synonymous with procrastination. And procrastination really gets you nowhere. I always say you have to hire and fire the right mental team for business growth. And it starts with making the energy not about perfection, but the energy about taking imperfect action. And the goal is to empower the person in front of you no matter what. And empowerment means giving someone the authority or power to do something or be something. So when you take imperfect action to set your schedule for the day, to have more conversations with people, because it's all about growing your network for business growth organically, you just have to be ready before you feel ready to step into a conversation or invite someone to do something or post a video. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's great. Be ready before you feel ready. I think I heard Ed Milet say something close to this where he's like, I don't need to, once I'm in the room, I'll figure it out. I just need to get in the room kind of thing.
Yes. And I love what John Maxwell says, that the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda.
Right. Let's talk about that a bit more.
Sure. So and I love this book, Make Today Count by John Maxwell. Most of us, when we get into business, we don't realize the power that we have in determining our next move or getting access to our next opportunity. And it starts with setting your hours of operation so that you don't step out of alignment with your authentic self. Like, I don't know, I've done a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong in entrepreneurship. There was a time when I worked any hour. Yes, I could work at 6 p.m. and then I was sacrificing that time with my boys, which pushed me out of alignment. So I just developed my hours of operation. And for any coach or consultant, this actually increases your authority, your integrity, and your alignment. And I always say alignment is your highest form of energy. So you actually sell better when you create your hours of operation and honor your roles and your goals. So I would love to share with anyone who's a coach or consultant right now my specific hours of operation, because I think it's the secret for your success as an entrepreneur. Perfect. So this is the setup for your hours of operation. Number 1, you want to focus on your mindset programming. What gets you in that place where you believe in limitless potential? Number 2, you got to honor your clients. Your clients are those people that empower you with more and better as well, like you're doing for them. Number 3, prospects. ABP, always be prospecting, because as entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants, the truth is we're like sharks. If you stop swimming, you will die. Your business growth will not grow. You will not grow if you're not constantly moving and meeting new people. Prospecting. What's your prospecting game look like? You should be prospecting a good amount in your day. You should definitely be on social media. According to Forbes, 78% of people outsell their peers because they have a presence on social media. Your people are there. Even if you hate social media, which I know you do, we all have a love-hate relationship with it. Make it social business media for yourself. And then number 4, you have to be networking. Because the truth is, as an entrepreneur, you can feel very lonely with your mental team. And if you hire the wrong one, that's not going to go well. Because we're typically in a relationship with our thoughts about people versus people themselves. Yeah. So if you're feeling like, I don't want to do anything, do the opposite. Go get in a Zoom business networking meeting. Jump on a Lineable. Go start having conversations so it will pull you back out. And guess what? You're going to learn something new today. You're going to probably meet a new prospect or a client or a phenomenal referral partner. By the way, no one else exists in your world as a business owner. There's only 3 options: prospect, client, or referral partner. And then focus on content creation. Content creation. Actually, I'd love to share one quick thing about that.
Oh, yeah.
JP, you're like, keep going. Content creates curiosity, but conversations create clients.
Say that again?
Content creates curiosity. Conversations create clients. So if you're in a place where you are on the content creating crazy train, phenomenal. I'm supporting you, and I say it's awesome that you're creating content. However, if you're expecting that to create clients, you're only going to create resentments for yourself. And you're going to slow down your progress.
Does that mean you need to funnel the people from the content into something else? Or does that mean you have to just go out networking and stop spending so much time on content?
Well, I put that last on the list for a reason. So contents, prospects, prospecting, networking, and content creation. The truth is, for me as an entrepreneur, because I am in business for myself, if I get to a place where I'm not meeting enough people, then I'm going to have content take a back seat. However, the next level is to delegate that. There are some phenomenal virtual assistants in this world. So at this point in time, I actually have some phenomenal people working and helping me out with this. Yeah. It's definitely a component.
So I would invite anyone who's listening to just rewind about 3 or 4 minutes to the beginning of that part, because it's so good. Like, you're talking about boundaries, right? We're talking about when you're setting your schedule, keep promises to yourself, set your schedule. Yeah, of course, you're going to have certain times where things pop up, but keep your schedule. And that way you're keeping promises to yourself. I use one called ABCs, and that's always be coaching.
Love that.
And it's about creating momentum, right? Even when you talk about social media, you're posting on social media, even if you don't want to, for someone 2-3 years from now that you've never even met. They're going to come along and go, oh, this guy's been around for a while. I like his content. It's streamlined. It's right. And so that's a part of it too.
I love what you just said. ABC, always be coaching. I always say coaching is not just for coaches. Every single person that I talk to, I said, you can always be empowering someone, because that's what we coaches do. So one of the phrases that I give anyone, if you ever talk to anyone who says this, they probably had a conversation with me or worked with me. When somebody says, hey, how are you? I say, I'm grateful we're meeting today. How are you? And that's an instant mindset shift, isn't it? Because you're like, Sure. Am I being grateful? Am I being grateful? No, I'm probably not right now. So I can move into that. And you just set that tone for someone.
I have a book that I wrote, and I used quotes for each. It was like a alphabet soup for the soul kind of thing. So each is a quote, and the one for G is gratitude from Dr. Robert Holden. The miracle of gratitude is that it shifts your perception to such an extent that it changes the world you see.
100%. Perception is reality.
Yeah. And then even like thinking when you're just saying that last one, like as a parent, that's what you're doing. You're coaching your kids too, right? Like empowerment. That's what it's all about. I tell people, like, because some people think coach, they just think basketball coach, you're telling me what to do. I'm like, it's not that. What I do is, a lot of people I find have a challenge with believing in themselves. And so you tell me your dream, or some people don't even know their dream. But once we figure out your dream, I'll hold it for you until you can step into it. Because I believe in you, but that's not good enough. You need to believe in yourself.
Oh, couldn't agree more. That's why chapter 4 in my book is about the law of deservability. Because we create our reality, our relationships, and our business, not based on what we desire, but what we believe we deserve, that deeper subconscious program. And so once you start functioning in that place of alignment's the highest good, there's no such thing as acceptance or rejection in the world of business or life. And start going into that place of stop living in the justifications. I just don't have time. I just can't do this. And realize you don't have to justify the next right thing.
Right.
It's much simpler than we make it.
I love it. I would love to know maybe some of the books you've read. Like, you're so well-read, so confident. And I think that it in part probably has to do with some of the books you read. So like when you talk about John Maxwell, already I'm like, I didn't need to know that. I know you're about leadership, so I know who you're reading. But
I love Napoleon Hill. I love the book Outwitting the Devil. Honestly, I also love C.S. Lewis writings. So my background originally was theology and journalism. So I had a ministry background. And so I was constantly, I learn and read for the sake of sharing the information with others. So if you're not a reader, it's totally okay. And if you sell yourself like I'm not a success because I don't finish books, no, that's totally, don't sell yourself that at all. You're your number one client. You buy everything, you sell yourself. But I'll open up books. Like I love the intellectual devotional because it has little excerpts from the 7 fields of knowledge. So I love to just pick up books here and there by John Maxwell. I'm always asking people, what are you reading right now? So I could pick up an excerpt of it. I'm loving The Money Magnet by Dr. Amanda B. She's brilliant. I think I went on her podcast or I had a conversation with her, but I'm loving that right now because I'm really getting people shifting from seeing success as possible to inevitable and understanding how your mind works, how your conscious mind sells your subconscious mind, and that you're responsible for that sales pitch. Yeah. I'm helping entrepreneurs and coaches to understand like, hey, you could take ownership of your direction and your decisions anytime. Why not right now?
Right. I think Les Brown, I heard him say, like, you already won the lottery just by coming here and becoming an egg and all that. Like, you already won the lottery. But that's kind of my message is like, you have one life to live, right? What do you want to do? Okay, now figure out the way to do it. Because you're saying about justification, you could figure out all the ways that it might not work, and then that will happen. But if you could try and just flip it and do the other way, that will happen too.
Yeah, what if we started each day as if we were already winning? What if we started each day as if we already ran the race and we already won? How different would we show up in our thoughts, words, actions, and emotions? How happy would we be? Like I went to Starbucks the other day and this woman's behind the counter is like, you are always so happy. And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, my husband would probably attest I'm not always that happy, but I'm always trying to be intentional. I'm always trying to be intentional because the truth is we all have life going on. We all have life. We all have stuff. We all have, situations with parenting. We all have situations with where things don't go right with employees. But guess what? We all also have the power to choose how we're going to show up. And I always say, make your number 1 goal to show up well and authentically. Your number 2 goal to empower the person in front of you, no matter what. And then it's actually a good day today. Have a different perspective on life.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier too, service, right? It's about serving others. And I have this whole decade-long chronic pain story that I don't want to talk about, but I was always me. And the second that I took and started focusing on other people and serving other people, man, my pain just diminished and it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, the brain can only focus on one thing at a time. And that's really the key. What's your focus going to be today?
So intentions. This is a big one. I have an acronym I teach, and it's called BIAS, BIAS. And if you follow this acronym, you can get anything you want in life. And it's belief, intention, action, surrender. Surrender is the hard one.
I love that. I love that. When I teach manifestation techniques, someone told me, some guru said, Bridget, you're not responsible for the how. You're just responsible for the belief, the intention, the action. And that's how you make it happen. So you're not responsible for the how this is going to manifest itself, but you are responsible for the work involved, right? I love that.
So I have a question. Do you, is it one-on-one? Do you work in groups, both, everything? And then also, can you wrap in maybe talking about motivational speaking, leadership development? What does that look like? And does that, when you talk about all that, is ministry a part of that? Like, at your ministry, do you speak?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a part of something called Recovery Church Movement. I'm also a worship leader, but that's actually separate from my business. But I am invited to speak on stages where I get to say God is my employer. So I do enjoy that. Most of the motivational speaking engagements are specifically about leadership, empowered entrepreneurship, sales. Those transforming relationships into revenue is probably the biggest one for most of us in the world of business growth and how we can empower more people with more and better in taking action. I do have a one-on-one 90-day Find Your Freedom program, and the Stuck on Ready group coaching program, which is brand new and is going well, has actually a hybrid of one-on-one and group. And well, people are becoming empowerment generators.
I love it. It's so true, right? When you empower someone, because it is, society's like, makes people not believe in themselves. And really all you have to do is just flip the switch.
And something actually I shared this in a speaking engagement. I saw it on the Tickety Talk, which I don't really watch that often, but I happened to catch this, that one of Elon Musk's girlfriends think he's had like four and a half, and like 9.5 children or something like that. But said, I love how Elon makes his no's honor his yeses. And it's like, okay, what do I need to say no to honor my yes? To my yes in business growth, to my yes with more time with my family, to my yes with more intentional service work. What is my yes that I want to honor today? And what do I have to say no to achieve that?
Wow. It's so true, right? Then you become totally aligned. It's boundaries again. I don't know if you ever read this book. It's just called Boundaries by, it's actually very religious, and they pull quotes from the Bible, but it's, even if you're not into the Bible, it's still a really good book just to teach you about boundaries. And like, it's not always just no. It's not always just yes. Sometimes there's a point. And once, I think obviously it becomes values, right? What do you believe and what are your values? And once you know that, then you know what to say yes and no to.
Yes. And you and I would love Napoleon Hill's quote, whenever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve.
Yeah, that's my most highlighted book for sure.
My son tried to quote that book, and he's like, whatever you can achieve and conceive, you can believe. I'm like, very close, very close. He's 7, so he'll get it.
Awesome. My daughter's 7.
Nice.
How about, what would be like the most common? So in that class, relationships to revenue, I love that. But what would be the most common block that you see people coming in with?
It's the belief in, well, it's the understanding of how to do sales, actually. The organic process of sales growth. Because I have a lot of people who come to me and said, I've spent a ton on marketing with the expectation it's going to sell for me. And I'm like, actually, you have to do both. You got to do both. So the knowing how to do sales and then how to close, and shifting their belief and their belief system around what closing means. So I had to create a training on how to close prospects within 30 minutes, and show them how to shift their belief system around closing. Like, hey, you're just giving people the opportunity to have more and better. And by the way, you have to believe that what you're doing is more and better for them, because no one wants your product, message, or service, but everyone wants more and better. And so you have to believe it first, because your prospect's going to buy your authority, your credibility, your relatability, and your belief first before they ever look at your product, message, or service. Amazing.
I watched one yesterday. It was 30 seconds to close, and it was about life insurance. And the one guy came up and he's like, do you want to buy some life? And the other guy's like, you have a family? Yeah. If you died tomorrow, will your family be taken care of? No. Okay. Do you want to buy life insurance? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Most of us in the world of business are selling people our limiting beliefs, and they're buying them. And they're expensive. And 90% of our communication is nonverbal. And so whatever your conversation you're having with your mental team is, guess what? That person in front of you is picking up on it. So that's why mindset's so important. That's why you have to go into it saying, I'm just going to listen intently. I'm going to give people the opportunity to have more and better. And I'm just going to ask them if it's something they want.
Beautiful. You have so many easy to understand, relatable acronyms or sayings. And it's such an easy way to digest the information of like big complex ideas that are difficult. Like imperfect action. I forget it right now off the top of my head, but you told me a couple before we started recording, but could you talk through those?
Absolutely. Imperfect action is literally just doing it and thinking less. I would say that once you get into the jet streams of entrepreneurship, when you first get started, you're probably thinking about 75% of the time and doing about 25% of the time. And then when you get into the jet streams of business growth, you're thinking strategically probably about 25% of the time, and then you're doing 75% of the time. So you have more energy all around. You're closing more deals. And when you are thinking, you're thinking direction, decisions, and destinations. What direction do I need to take? What moves do I need to make? And what's the destination? What is the goal?
Yeah, it's so obvious that your love of sales it shines out. So thanks. I think what I'm hearing there is like it's really easy. We get stuck in our head, stuck on ready, but like that's the masculine, right? We're thinking about it so much instead of just doing it and feeling it, where you get into the feminine, and it's a much better place to be.
Well, and it's a muscle. It's just like working out. I hear, and I wrote this in my book. I actually quoted Dr. Seuss in my book too. I talk about the greatest salesman of all time was actually Sam I Am.
Wow.
If you think about that, next time when you read that book to your daughter, I want you to read it from a sales perspective. Because
Wow.
because number one, he never changes his demeanor. Number two, he has to deal with a million no's before he gets the yes, and that yes at the end is the hugest testimonial. And his clients screaming from the rooftops how great green eggs and ham is. So, like, keeping things simple and realizing that sales is just a simple mindset shift helps you to understand that you can empower anyone as long as you believe in what you have to offer, and that it's definitely going to change that person's life. And on a bad sales day, by the way, play out the story of your prospects not being able to solve their problems and realizing you're doing them a disservice if you don't show up today to help them.
100%, right? Because they're coming with a problem, and if you can't help them solve it, or if they don't get it solved, they're just going to keep going down that road. Oh man, this is so good. I think as we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates with you, please like, subscribe, share, follow us on YouTube. That will help us out. And I think I ask everyone this question. This is the Phase 4 podcast, and Phase 4 in the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is all about creating your future 3 years out. So where is Bridget 3 years from today?
3 years, I'm definitely still doing speaking engagements. I'm empowering at least 500 more entrepreneurs and coaches through the stuck on ready way of thinking, being, and doing.
Yep.
And I'm a mom to a high schooler.
Oh, wow. Hey, it's getting that close. My son just turned 10, and it's like, oh, soon he's going to be a teenager.
Oh, yes. Good times. Still learning every day, building the plane while we're flying, and parenthood as well.
Yeah, it's true. Parents, you know what? Parenthood is a good, like not a lesson, but it's a good comparison. You learn so much from both. You can bring it from coaching to parent and from parenting to coaching.
And learning to pause with a purpose. When you close your kids on saying, you're going to do this chore, and they like, blah, 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 blah. Pause with a purpose.
Can you talk about that from a business angle?
100%. When you're in a sales call with someone, or if you're in a place where you're confused about your ideal target market, it's probably because you're not listening enough. And listening is the universal language of love and respect. But pausing with a purpose gives you a couple of things. It gives you the ability to process. It gives you the ability to be intentional and actually see that person in front of you. It gives you the ability to, it gives you the ability to close for sure. Because when you're in the state where you've already helped someone become problem aware and solution seeking, and you said, is this something you want? You're the expert. So you need to pause with a purpose and allow them to process, because you're going a million miles a minute, but your job is just to hold the energy in the space of radical self-acceptance for them to figure out if they're going to take that next move and stop living under the influence of their problems and become the influence in their lives and businesses. So pause with a purpose today.
So good. It's so important. Even like speaking, right? Just that little pause that has such an effect on the crowd.
It's definitely an intention getter, not just an attention getter.
Beautiful. I guess as we kind of like wrap up, before I ask my final question, there's so much I missed. But can you take it wherever you want? I always like to hear the guests either just give a message of hope, inspiration. If you have something to sell it, or all of it. Just take us home.
I want you to know right now that if you're living under the influence of circumstances, environments, limiting beliefs, lies that you've sold yourself, anything that's standing in your way from believing in your limitless potential, you could become intentional right now and decide to do differently. Decide to be that person in alignment. Have your no's honor your ultimate yes. And if you'd like more encouragement in a print format, you can go to stuckonready.com and get my best-selling book, or you can go on stuckonreadyaudiobook.com and start listening right now.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely reach out to Bridget. She obviously, you can tell she has so much to offer. She's passionate about sales. If you're a coach that's stuck on the selling aspect, we know this happens a lot at the beginning of coaches' careers. Obviously, Bridget is the one you want to talk to. So reach out to her today. And I think this has been such a great conversation. I'm so grateful for your time today. My final question is, how can people reach you?
BridgetHom.me.
Nice. And what is the Bridge to Freedom website?
BridgeToFreedomCoaching.com. You can also find me there. If you'd like to book a meeting so we can talk about your next direction and your decisions, we can chat there.
Amazing. We'll put all those links in the show notes. And Bridget, I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much.
Oh, this is phenomenal, JP. I'll share space with you any day.